Hey.
Environment, all the shadow colors on their face, everything but the highlight. The highlight, maybe where the person is lit directly, that might be affected only by the color of the light, pretty much. But all the shadows in the rest of their face are a product of the light reflecting off of either a red rug on the floor, a green tree, green grass, even a beige wall will affect it. So it greatly, greatly affects that. So let's look at some photographs here. And let's first start with this one of Emily, my wife. And this is in this photograph, she's been lit just by basically a balanced white light in a dark room, so there's not a lot of reflective colors going on. There's some reflection perhaps coming off the fabric around your head. But basically, there's not a lot going on in terms of room color, reflective color, and she's being lit by balanced white light. And yet, still, even in this example here, you can see what a variation there is in the skin tones. And all of those colors, dots here, have all been pulled from those points where the line is pointing to. And you can see what a huge difference. There's dark red, and there's colors that shift toward the green, more gray, and just colors all over the place. And so even here, there's no real rhyme or reason. There's no way you can sort of create a color chart that would match this. It's just going to depend on the person and everything. Now, let's go to this next picture, and this one here is of my daughter Lucy, and she's standing out in a field on a bright day, and there's a lot of light reflecting off of the grass, as you can see, all the greens in there, and as I've pulled them out over there on the right, you can see just how green and how pink and even a purplish shift, and so they're just all over the place. So there's no formula, again, that would ever get you to think of these as flesh tones, because there's no such thing as flesh tone. They're just all over the place. Now let's go to this other one, and this one is sort of an extreme setup that I set up in order to show a couple things. Number one, this is my stepdaughter Ella, and has the right side of her face is facing this green wall, which is being lit by the sun, and so it's completely changing, as you can see, the left side of her face, and those colors are sampled right from her face. So in this case, you could say that the flesh tone is blue, which obviously it's not, but with the reflective colors, it really just changes it completely. And then you can see over on the other side, the light's coming through her ear, and ears tend to be red anyway. And right there where the light is coming through and the blood is being picked up, you can see just how red the color gets. So, in this case, again, you can see if you just look at that string of dots there in colors, you can see that the flesh tone is just all over the place. And there would never be like a color chart or a set of colors that you can mix that would match flesh tone. And just so you understand, my own experience has been I had a long career as a portrait artist, and I used to sit down with my clients and sit them by a window and then set a palette in front of myself and take my brush, mix colors, and I used to hold it, it's the same as like if you're using a color checker, but I would hold out my brush and match my colors from life. So I knew exactly what I was looking at. And when I first started, I was always looking for a formula for skin tones. I would see, even one time I just happened to mix some colors from life, and I really loved the way the color was, and I thought about putting them on a sheet of paper so that I could use them again if I needed to. But then, that was just when I was first starting. But the more I painted, the more I started to realize that skin tones are just all over the place, and there really is no what you would call flesh tone, which is interesting because some manufacturers, and I'm not going to pick on anybody, but it's probably maybe it's a tradition. I don't know where it came from, but they actually manufacture a color called Caucasian flesh tone. But actually, in my experience, I would never use anything like this color that they call Caucasian flesh tone. But I thought to myself, well, what would I do? And the problem with this color is that its value is almost as light as white. It's just, one little step down from white. So it's extremely bright. It would be sort of the color I would use for the shine on somebody's reflection. But in reality, as you approach the highlight on the skin, especially where there's a reflection or light reflecting off of a forehead or whatever, the colors tend to go more blue. They lose their color. They become less pinky, not more pinky. And so this color that's called flesh tone, interestingly, to me, I would never use anything like it to paint flesh tone, even for somebody with Caucasian skin. But I tried to set it up, and the only thing I could do would be to, put Ella out here in the sun, and the sun is just beaming down on her ear, which I would never expose. I would never work from a painting like this because, in the old days, artists never saw blown out, completely white flesh tone. Even if direct light was hitting, somebody's ear, and you were painting them, you wouldn't see blown out white. Where the sun was hitting, you would see skin. That's the way our eyes work, and it's only in the modern era where we have photography that we get these overexposed photographs that people use as a source, like this one. Her face is exposed properly, but the part on her ear is completely blown out. The shine on her forehead is even too light. But if you go right into the ear there, as I've done, you can see I put a little spot, and this is the exact color of the flesh tone paint. I took a balanced white photograph and went to great lengths. I used a white balance card and everything to make sure this is exactly the color. But as you can see, even here, if you look real close, it's slightly too pink. So I couldn't even set it up. So it's just interesting that the color that they call flesh tone is nothing like flesh tone that I've ever seen. Now, I'm sure you could